Welcome to The Creatives, Radio Now's new entertainment talk show. My name is Doris Okorie. You'll be catching us every Friday on all our platforms, on Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos, on our website www.thisisradionow.com, on Facebook, facebook.com/thisisradionow, and finally on YouTube, Radio Now Studio. First, I have with me in the studio a man who made sound blast in the city and music for television. His words, not mine. If you want to know who that is, you'd have to stick around. But first, my favorite part, the drums. Let's do this! I have with me here in the studio an experienced architect, creative director, show producer, content and ambience designer who has worked with brands like Spirit of David, Sapphire Events, MTV Network Africa, No Surprises Events, and many more. Welcome, Femi Dahunsi, aka FADDO.
It's nice to be here, Doris.
It's nice to have you. I like your shirt.
Thank you very much.
Could you just, wash it, deliver it to me? No?
I'll try.
Okay, thank you so much.
I'll do something about that.
Okay, great. So let's get this show on the road.
Right.
So my first question is, you have a bachelor's degree in law, so why sound design?
Well, sometimes we start on a path, and then on that path we find something else that calls to us. And this was a calling for me. It found me. In my third year in the university in 1998, it found me. I was backstage at an event for my very first live event, and I always wanted to be there. Like, this is home. When you view the show from the place where people don't see. Yeah, where everything happens, but nobody sees you guys. All the action really happens, Yeah. Sometimes it's the silence, sometimes it's the chaos, sometimes it's more madness than chaos, Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. So it found me, really. Nice.
So interestingly, you refer to yourself as the experienced architect.
Yes.
Could you tell me why? I really want to know.
Okay, so architecture and what we do, show production, show design, is art. And sometimes you walk past a house in maybe Banana Island or Lekki or VI, and sometimes on the mainland occasionally, but that house is really nice. And it's the brainchild of some architect. You're the owner of the house. At some point you said to someone, I want a 4-bedroom apartment. But then he goes and then he starts to build the elements, the kitchen, the living room, your terrace, your garden. And that's what we do with what I do with my business. I design various elements of events that give you the experience as the audience or as the client who has commissioned me to do that.
So sometimes you have to maybe go the extra mile.
Oh yeah, a lot of times you escalate. That's the word we use. You escalate it. Okay. Sometimes your client has a champagne taste. Okay. But have the budget for a beer bottle. So you create the impossible. It's like a music producer will do pretty much the same thing. They have this hum in their head, but you have to make it all into that hit song.
Nice. And it can be surprising how people just get into the creative space. So I want to ask you, did you train to be a sound designer, or you just found it, loved it, and just, I have to do this?
Okay, so like I said earlier on, it found me. Okay. But to remain in the business for the last, 24 years? Ooh. At various stages. I started at lower end, as what you call a loader. And then you become a loader. From a loader, you become a rigger. And then at some point, you become a sound tech. Okay. So you're just patching things. And over time, we had to learn, I worked in church for a while, nice. And then we had a pastor who had a knack for excellence. You had to be the best. It has to be the best sound or the best lighting or the best ambience on the Sunday morning. Otherwise, it wasn't good enough. And so that transcended into my personal life and to my personal business. And then we got some training, at some point in time to get to sustain us. Okay. Passion will bring you into the business, but some training will keep you. Because the trends change every morning when you wake up. True. So you have to keep up with the trends. When we started, we had analog mixers. Okay. We didn't have the cameras that we have now. True. Over time, everybody learned something new. So now it's a digital age. So you have to upgrade. Otherwise, we'll still be in the Stone Ages.
True. You actually have a point there. So you said something about being a loader.
Yes.
And you said something about you starting while you were in school in 1998.
Yeah.
So how were you able to juggle being a loader, being on set, and school. I mean, studying law is actually a big deal, to be honest.
It's a big deal when that's all you want to do. You know, I went to the university, I wanted to be a lawyer, and in my third year, it was obvious that I was in the wrong place. You know, so there's a step to get in there. You know, sometimes it's one step that takes you to one building, but you meet the right person that's going to put you in the right part of your life in that place.
I think I can totally understand. So how did you go from being a loader? I mean, the way you made it sound, it looked like you were doing more of the
manual work. Yes,
so how did you go from that to creating and running FADDO?
Right. So it's the story is really interesting. In 1998, we had been there for about 6 months doing the whole loading, and it was really tedious. You know, you'd go to Ido and get those trailers that brought cows from the north. You clean them out. Yeah, I promise you. And then you load up the equipment and then drive all night into the north or wherever it was, set up into the morning. And so there was a gentleman called Big Joe at the time, and we had good mentors. They had the best intentions for us. And so he said, look, you know what? When you finish loading, don't all go and sleep, because we were literally knocked out. You know? So
I can imagine.
Don't all go and sleep. Pay attention. You know, sometimes, you know, so buy some books, you know, register for this, do that. And then, so we started taking notes. And then one day in 1999, towards the end of 1999, someone missed a flight.
Oh.
I promise you, that's the story. Someone missed the flight, and Big Joe just said, you know what, this kid can do it. And the story is where I am today.
No way.
I promise you.
Wow.
It's a ridiculous story,
an amazing
but that's
story.
my story.
I'm really enjoying myself, FADDO, but we have to go on a quick break.
Right.
So let's go on a quick break and we'll be right back. I have with me Femi Dahunsi in the studio. Femi Dahunsi, aka FADDO, in the studio on The Creatives on Radionow. Stick around for more awesomeness. Welcome back to The Creatives on Radionow. I have with me in the studio Femi Dahunsi, aka FADDO. We have been chatting and I've been enjoying myself.
I have too.
Sure.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, so let's continue this. You have done it all, really. You know, when I read your bio, yes, you have.
No, I haven't produced the Super Bowl halftime show yet.
Okay, I like aspire to perspire. Respire. Okay, so for me, you have done a lot. You have done road tours. You've been ahead of shows.
Yeah.
You've done events, weddings, been a project coordinator.
Right.
I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, and all of this make up FADDO.
Yeah.
So tell us what FADDO is.
Okay, so FADDO, the business is a touring. We do tours, festivals, and awards. So, because over time, you have to specialize. And that's with almost every industry. In the medical core, you either do pediatrics or
surgery.
You do, what's it called, ear, nose, and throat, or, you know, all those kind of things. So, I had to specialize in doing more festivals, outdoor festivals, because there's a thing about empty spaces that I like. You understand? You come into an empty space and you create from scratch. You know, you have so many elements against you, especially the biggest one, the weather. So it's what one of my biggest mentors in the industry, shout out to Eddie Lawani, calls the anticipated unexpected problems.
Wahala. I like that.
You know it's June, it's going to rain in June, but you're having an outdoor event, you know, so you prepare for those kind of things. You make a rain plan. So I like festivals because they're not restrictive. You can create, you can explore, you keep changing every second of the production.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
Definitely.
Okay,
Okay, so what is the wildest thing that has ever happened to you whilst you're working?
It might be ridiculous as well as wild.
Okay.
I couldn't find a screwdriver.
How is that wild?
Yeah, it's like the most mundane things can confuse you on show day. There was a screwdriver, it was a tiny bit of nut in someone's guitar that we couldn't get to work. And it was really messing up everything. It was just one screwdriver.
Just a very regular screwdriver?
Yes.
You're kidding.
I promise you. I mean, I've produced shows with Kenny G, Disney music festivals with Shakira, Rihanna, everybody. That one screwdriver.
So whose show was that?
It was a concert for Ice Prince in 2011. Oh, the date was really peculiar, 9/10/11. And the bass guitarist had a guitar that was distuning. And we just had to fix it. And we couldn't find a screwdriver in the whole of Victoria Island.
The whole...
I'm just kidding. It was in a hotel. I couldn't mention the name on air.
I'm just
saying, it was a ridiculous request. Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, aside, you've mentioned, I mean, a situation like that, you've mentioned weather. What other challenges you face as a sound designer?
Nigeria is a big challenge for our industry, you know, so because it's the industry internationally is booming and developing. There's so many things we haven't tried yet. You understand? So there's a barrier with regards to what we have available. You know, sometimes you want to, like Burna Boy landed the spaceship at the O2. We don't have such venues in Nigeria.
Here in Nigeria. You
know, so we don't have such facilities, and sometimes it's a financing concern. So, but it's an industry that we're going to get home. You know, there's a Yoruba saying that the pig is going to get to wherever it's going. It's just a lot of noise.
Even in the pot.
It's just a lot of noise. It will squeal and whatever, but make sure it gets to where it's going. And that's what we're doing. We're reeling it along where we're driving it. It will get there eventually.
Amen. You know, there's always the passion. Oh, I have the passion to work as a creative. We get that. But can you tell us how you make the money? What's the business aspect of, you know, being a sound designer?
Right. So when people ask me the very regular question, what do you do for a living? I tell them I don't do anything.
Why?
Because I'm having fun.
Oh, okay.
So people actually pay you to have fun. And the ones who are as crazy enough as you will sometimes buy into your idea and pay you money to just do whatever you want to do.
To do what you love.
Yes, do whatever you want to do. I'm currently working with an artist that lets me express myself. He's what I call the next frontier of Afrobeats in Africa, Madi Kuti.
Nice.
And he's such a very interesting young man because he lets you just run free. And when you find two people, you have the experienced architect and you have the artist who agree as to the level of madness that you can display with your production, it's a free world for you.
Amazing stuff, amazing stuff. So what is your go-to, like what's your philosophy of life? Like this is, like what is your motto basically?
Nobody dies.
What?
Nobody dies.
What does that even mean?
Everything must work as one.
Okay.
So it's not my business. It's your business. So if it's the lighting that's not working and you're a sound guy,
you should try and assist.
Yes. If it's the generator where the power is coming from that's a problem, it's your problem as well.
True.
It's everybody. So everybody must come home together. Nobody dies.
I think I agree with you on that. To the people who want to come into this industry, what advice would you give them? This is your Twitter, aspire to perspire moment.
Right.
So
right. It's a fun place to be. You can only survive if you're crazy enough.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, FADDO, for coming
Pleasure
here
is
with
all
me.
mine.
I really enjoyed myself. I learned a lot. Maybe I should even start by being a runner, a loader. Maybe something I would enjoy.
We'll find something
Talk about
for
that
you to do.
later.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for
yes.
coming by.
Pleasure's
I really
all
enjoyed
mine.
myself. So that was our first edition of The Creatives. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I did. If you have any questions or comments, please drop it on any of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram with the hashtag The Creatives. So from me, Doris Okorie, I'll see you next week with another amazing guest on The Creatives.